you know
I did.
there are no old moments?
I really did know that.
I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia.
We're the brand new Canes.
In a new moment of now.
As it said in the description, there are no old moments, only repetitive thoughts. And being here is key to experiencing the new in every moment.
It is true that each moment is an opportunity for your life to transform. Each moment you can jump into the current moment of your life. And that's where life is a creation. And it's not work and it's not trying to get somewhere. It's being with your life as it unfolds. And so that's what we're about.
When I was a kid, we had this holiday gift. I think it was paper mache, but it had all of these wrapped up. And inside, you'd unwrap and unpeel. There were little gifts. And you'd unpeel and unpeel. And so when you talked about unfolding, life unfolding, I had this picture, this image. And the one we never unpeeled was a clown. And it was so happy and so hopeful. And there was so much possibility. I'm really glad we never unpeeled it. Because I'm sure the little jingly things inside would have been very disappointing. But this moment is not disappointing if you allow it to unfold and really listen.
Listening is key to the moment. Otherwise, you're caught up in repetitive thoughts about the past. And you could either listen to those thoughts or you can use your eyes and engage in what's happening in your life right here, right now. It's all new. It's all new. The moment is always new. It's never the same. You can't take notes about how to be in your life. You can only be in your life as you are in this moment. It's all new.
Now, I know the majority of you are listening to this without a visual component because we're not planning initially on releasing these with a visual component. But your eyes, whether you close them to listen or you open them and really engage, engaging isn't reading something else whilst listening. It's so easy to get swept away into the written word, or you can be here. And today's really all about being here, and it is the access way to the new.
We always talk about listening, though. Listening is key. You can either listen to your thoughts about what's being said to see whether you agree or disagree with it, or you can listen and allow the words to impact you, to come into you without filtering them through what you know. See, if you filter it through what you know, you say, oh, this is just like, and you fill in the blank with something you already know. But when I speak to you, my words are pure and they express what I'm expressing if you listen. But if you think you know what I'm saying, nothing is ever new. It gets compared to what you already know. And you say, oh, this is just like.
You know when else it gets compared? If somebody is holding in front of themselves a perceived problem and they're hoping our words will come in to sort out what you're working on.
Well, that's an agenda to get better.
And that's not listening.
That's not listening.
So see if you can set down anything that you might have been excited about or working on.
Or worried about or trying to get to or trying to avoid.
It's called being here.
Yes.
Shall we take our first guest?
Absolutely.
Excellent. We have Marin with us today. Hi, Marin.
Hi there.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
This is Marin in Brussels.
Welcome to being here.
Thank you very much. I find I'm caught up in old and repetitive thoughts a lot. I've been observing that. And I'm curious, as recently, I think it was Shaya who said in a podcast how old stories, how repetitive thoughts can be an asset. And my mind just screamed at me, no, no way, this can be an asset.
Well, you know, Maren, darling, I don't recall the context in which I was talking about that.
But I can tell you how they're an asset.
Do.
If your thoughts are there and they're repeating, chances are you're disengaged from whatever's in front of you or a creative
Or you're
something.
engaged in resisting something that you disagreed with.
Or you're busy being right.
Well, if that's engaged in something you disagree with,
Mhm.
because if you're being right, somebody else has to be wrong.
Okay.
Or even that you have to be wrong. There's something wrong with me that I'm not working as much as I'd like to.
Mhm. That all resonates.
But,
Oh, dear.
you know, the truth, Maren, is you're working exactly as much as you want to. You just have an idea that you want to work more.
Hmm. How do you know these were my repetitive thoughts?
Well, you've written to us a
Yeah.
number of emails recently,
And they're repetitive.
and they tend to be very complex, and they tend to have a repetitive theme that seems to be in the email format, working out for yourself what you feel you're doing not well enough, what you might be doing sort of well enough, what you're doing very well, but it has a very complex flavor to it. And I have a suspicion you rarely give yourself a break.
Ah. Okay.
You know, just being okay, being Maren, exactly the way she is, exactly the way she's not, just okay being you.
I mean, I know most people can't see you, but you look gorgeous. And I guarantee you, if we could go in and visit that convoluted conversation you have, it would not reflect how you are, who you are. It's a whole series of nonsense put together from the
It's a
past.
conversation, but it isn't you.
Okay.
See? And when Ariel said you're gorgeous, you are.
Thank you.
But that is hard for you to hear.
Too busy thinking.
No,
That
not too
was
busy
that was
thinking.
the commentary saying too busy thinking, and then it came out, then you expressed what the thought went by. The thought has no basis in reality unless you listen to it as if it's true and as if it's you saying, I'm too busy thinking.
Hmm. How can we not listen to thoughts? How does it work?
Well,
Like,
you generate thoughts to listen to avoid the moment.
hmm.
They keep you occupied.
Hmm.
It's like having a friend.
Hmm.
You can talk to yourself about how bad you are.
Hmm.
You notice how it doesn't talk to you that much about how good you are?
Oh, absolutely. Hmm.
The other thing is there's a difference between change and transformation. And the question, of course, that our minds come up with are generally rooted in change. Like, how can I not listen to the thoughts? That is the mind thinking that the thoughts are bad and you'd be a better you if you weren't listening to them.
Hmm.
With transformation, it's inclusive. It includes that Maren has a complex thought process, which is not a bad thing. You would not be able to be a simul-translator from German to English, and I don't know if you do other languages as well, if your mind was not complex.
Okay.
So it's very useful,
Hmm.
but it's not useful when you turn it on yourself.
Hmm.
When you see, here's the thing. In this moment, you could only be having this conversation with us because you are. In this moment, you could only have glasses on your face because you do. You could only be wearing a headset to listen with because you are in this moment. Doesn't mean you couldn't take your glasses off, couldn't take the headset off, but in this moment, this is the way your reality is showing up. Well, you have this Simo conversation, like Simo Translate. You have a Simo conversation that, like a soundtrack that runs alongside the movie. And it's talking to you all the time about how this isn't it, and it would be better if.
That's so true. It is.
It is, yes, but that's not bad if you don't resist that.
And if you resist it, that's not bad. It just intensifies it.
It just keeps it around. You see, anything you resist, you keep around. Any conversation you resist or don't like, that's the conversation you listen to, because it's self-repetitive. When you resist something, you get stuck to it.
Today, I was trying to sign Shia up
For a COVID shot.
his COVID shot. So it opened up at 10 o'clock and there were spaces, and I could not get the website to work. I couldn't get it to scroll. And so I had to do it on my phone. And by the time I typed everything in on the phone, all 360 spots were taken. And then I discovered I have more than one computer here, and I was trying to use the wrong trackpad, and it wouldn't scroll because I was using the trackpad from my other computer. Okay. And so all of a sudden, what came in was, oh my God, I messed up. Mm-hmm. And then it runs to the worst possible future. What if in the extra week, Shia gets COVID and I've killed him? And then I was like, Shia, I'm really feeling lost here. And he looked at me and said, let it go. It's perfect. Those people were supposed to have gotten those. We'll try again next week.
There's nothing, Maren, that's worth getting upset over. See, life never shows up the way you expect it. It shows up the way it does. And if you have expectations that it should fulfill your desires or your preferences, well, then you're disappointed most of the time. But if you can start enjoying the disappointments, they're no longer disappointments.
You know, what's very interesting about that experience for me in general, I'm very relaxed about things. I'm not forward thinking, but I lost my center in that moment. I was trying to get something where I perceived my survival or his survival was
your
at
survival
stake.
is attached to my survival.
So both. And so I stopped seeing what was in front of me. I was not fully here. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's an interesting information. It's just interesting. Life is interesting.
Well, I just noticed something, we started this conversation a while ago, and we use a timer to give us an idea on one of the other computers, but I didn't start it.
Yep.
So I looked over and I said, oh, look at that. I didn't start it.
So I saw that also, and I thought,
so I'll just see where this goes.
We'll have a natural beginning, middle, and end.
No problem.
We don't need a guide.
Right. You can either get lost in the details of the rules you've set up for how life should be, or you can live.
I feel physically lighter already. Thank you.
Yeah, living involves being here. You can't do it wrong, darling. You can't. You can only be the way you are in any moment. So enjoy it.
Thank you.
Or not. You see, it's up to you. You have ultimate choice as to whether to go down those roads that lead nowhere or to be here for your life. And those roads that lead nowhere are the ones where you think about how you could have, should have done it differently. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, I don't know if they have this in Belgium, but they have certain street signs on roads out here where they look like, oh, they're going to go someplace interesting, but the sign says no outlet, Meaning if you go in there, it's a dead end. You can go there, but you can't get back out except for the way you came in.
Exactly.
And, our minds are like that. You follow a thought process and there's no outlet from that direction. You just have to back out.
Back out or hit the wall. All right.
Well, your choice.
That's right. Thank you
We
so
were
much.
once having a conversation with somebody about that exact thing. I said to this lady, we were in a Chinese restaurant, Mama Buddha, and over on 10th Avenue. And I said, if you're driving a car and you see you've gone into a one-way street, what do you do? And she said, scream. And I said, no, that's not necessary. Try backing out. So once you see yourself going down a wrong path, just back out. You don't have to stay there. There's a saying, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
you're
you
so welcome.
much. Yeah, a treat being with you today.
Yeah, pleasure.
Now it's your turn. Let's hear what one of you listeners has to say about being here in the transformation community.
Hi, this is Judy in Manhattan, and I love transformation, as I used to have a passion for the Yankees, but now I have a passion for life. I have a passion for my friends. I have a passion for my job. I have a passion for my clients. I have passion for just about anything I do, and I can attribute it to coming to transformational seminars.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have an upcoming virtual Living Made Easy seminar, actually 2 of them. We have the Freedom to Breathe on April 16th and Celebrating the Unexpected on April 17th and 18th. These are bilingual seminars. They're translated into German. And I don't know about you, but giving myself license to just take a breath is a gift. And celebrating the unexpected is part of what had us be here right now. Not only are all our seminars virtual, because we celebrated what was new arriving for us with COVID, but also this podcast is new.
Well, we're also doing 2 upcoming Living Made Easy virtual seminars on Saturday, March 20th and Monday, March 22nd as well.
Also, we're in the midst of our relaunch for our subscription series, Living Made Easy on Demand. If you want little mini video seminar sessions of us having a conversation with an individual, kind of like we did with Maren today, but they're videos and they're a little more extensive. You can have one of those each week in your inbox, and you can stream it anytime, day or night, that works for you. Plus, there are articles and a forum where you can ask questions that we will answer, and some private little videos from us. So if you'd like to know more about that, or you'd like to register for anything or signing up for our newsletter, just go to transformationmadeeasy.com. We have another guest.
Yes, we do.
All right. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Shaya. This is Thomas from Allschwil in Switzerland.
Can you say where you're from again? Allschwil.
Allschwil, that's very close to Basel in Switzerland.
Allschwil.
Allschwil, yes.
Oh, I did that pretty good. Good. I had to train my ears for, it's a different series of sounds for us.
Yeah, sure. I was thinking about these old moments and repetitive thought. Oh,
That's
lost my
okay.
voice, sorry.
That's
It's
all right.
okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about these old moments and this word is
Repetitive
Repetitive.
thoughts, yes.
What's the
repetitive.
word in Swiss? Repetitive.
I think it's almost the same, but it's pronounced a bit different. Repetitive, wiederholend, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, especially in my case, the repetitive thoughts about the old, especially the old nice moments, are for me a bit more dangerous than the thoughts about the bad moments in the past. And I find that
I have
somehow.
a question, Thomas.
Yes.
What if those moments in the past weren't good or bad? What if they were just moments? See, I notice that you set it up with good and bad moments as if the good moments are worth remembering, the bad moments aren't worth remembering. But, good and bad live in a realm or reality called change. And most of us live in that reality called change, where we have an idea of what would be better, and then we strive to achieve that. Now, you're a successful man. You've achieved things in your life, but the achievement is very short-lived, if you notice. The sense of satisfaction for having achieved it doesn't fulfill you over time. See, then there's this other realm called transformation. It's not about good. It's not about bad, not about right or wrong. It's about the way life is in the current moment of your life. It's about being where you are, not trying to change it to get it to be the way you think it ought to be. See, our problem, all of us human beings, is that we have been programmed by the culture we grew up in. And so we have the standards, the rules, those rules of behavior that we've been taught growing up. And then we compare our life to what we think it should be according to the rules of the culture. And even if we achieve them, it never seems to be quite enough to be fulfilling, to fulfill your heart so that you feel good about yourself. However, when you get into the current moment of your life, that's all there really is. You and your life, and it feels good.
I can get what you say about the quote, good moments being compelling for you. Because, for instance, I'm just getting a picture of when we used to do live seminars. And there was a time you came to New York City from Switzerland. And over that period of time, I don't know if you stayed with her or you visited her or had a dinner with her, but there you had some time with a really lovely woman. And so it would be so easy right now to think about that evening you spent or that meal you had or that the intimacy you shared. But if you take that slice of time, you miss everything that led up to it, including any of the self concerns you had, like, oh, what if I get there and she doesn't like me, or what if, or all it's artificial. And then if you're normal,
if you compare that moment that seems special to this moment, then this moment always will pale in comparison, because that was one of those, it's like you put it in a special ivory box.
Yeah.
that, a carved box that held this wonderful moment, but then you're comparing your life to that moment, and it always falls short.
And if you're normal, you know how to take that written story and edit it to make it better. So it's not really the experience itself, it's a reworked, re-edited version, and life can never live up to the re-edited version of what you created in your mind.
It can't, yeah, of course. It's impossible.
But, it's interesting. I'm looking at you, you're in your room, and I see some really lovely and fun things on your shelf. It looks like you have a cat carrier there, but it also looks like you have a couple of teddy bears that are dressed in certain, like garb. I can't tell if one of them is like a professor garb or whatever it is, but those things are background. You don't generally see them on the day-to-day basis. You don't allow yourself to be delighted by how their nose is and how their hat tips up, because it's normal. It's been here.
And so you've held the normal moments of your life as not extraordinary. And if you do that, there are no extraordinary moments. It's all same, same, same old, as a friend of mine used to say. He doesn't say that anymore.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. Mm-mm. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, life is a constant new possibility. Each moment of each day is full of possibility. But if you are comparing the day to an event that happened a long time ago, well, then you miss out on today.
I just want to say something that I find it so cool that you bring up, that you can haunt yourself with the quote good memories, because we often talk on this show and in seminars about being hard on yourself, but that's a really tricky way of being hard on yourself, where you look at that special moment and then
you say what could have been, and it's all a fantasy based in a story that isn't even truly true. Because when you were with this person, as wonderful it is in retrospect, there was all this self-doubt. There was feelings that you could not perform properly. You'll say it wrong or do it wrong. All that's wrapped up in those events. But your mind edits that out and turns it into the perfect moment.
And it doesn't just have to be that intimate moment. Go ahead.
It turned out very well and very nice. So
yes, but there were all those little mini slices, like, should I say this? Should I do this? Where and then you'd say it and it worked out, but in the moment you weren't certain of it right up until you were. And it's similar when somebody's delivering a project at work, and somebody sees the project, says, wow, great job. Right up until they say, wow, great job, you don't know that will be the outcome. So there's all of the moments, other slices of time.
Yes.
And then you could replay like, wow, I want another one of those, wow, great jobs. But you miss that moment was the culmination of everything, including what you might consider failures, like writing something that flopped or having a relationship that didn't go anywhere, and then suddenly you're in one that works.
Well, look, the thing is this. I was married for 14 years before I met Ariel. I was divorced for a few years before I met Ariel. But if that relationship hadn't ended, I could have never found Ariel. We never would have met. So you see, life works out perfectly because it brings you to this moment of now. And all opportunity exists in the current moment, not in some future when it turns out a certain way. It's right here, right now. Your life is available to you in this moment if you're here for it. But if you're lost in complaints that it hasn't worked out the way you think it ought to have, well, then you'll miss the opportunities as they show up, because you'll be lost in a thought loop about how you should have done it different. And by the way, my friend, the past is immutable. You can't go back and change any of it.
Yeah.
So you can't go in and impact it. So wasting your life thinking you should have done something different is a complete waste of this moment of your life. And by the way, this moment is where your life is taking place.
Yeah, all these moments are like pearls strung together. And you know, if we go back to that time you spent with this lovely woman, and you go back a few slices, when Andrea invited you to your first seminar, it took courage for you to step in and say, let me give that a try.
Yeah.
You had no clue where it was going.
Yeah, right. And meeting so many people I've never met before, speaking a different language and all these things.
Yes. So you're a very courageous man.
Thank you.
Except you don't think so most of the time, because you're normal. Because most of us don't think we're courageous. Yet we are incredibly courageous. It takes courage to be a human being.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't help myself. Do you have a cat?
I have 2 cats, yes.
Ah.
They are already a bit older. The older one is 15 or 16 years old. So they sleep all day long, and they don't do much different than sleeping and eating.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy them.
Yes.
I do, of course, I do.
That's great.
We have a kitten. She's almost a year old. And she's becoming so much pleasure to be with.
Yeah, it is a pleasure. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you have any other questions for us, Thomas?
No, that was my question. I'm fine.
Did we answer your question?
You did, absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Oh, good.
And you know what? You were fine even before you asked your question. You know, I'm so moved to see you, and I'm moved that you are here, being here. I have a feeling there are a number of people who have the impulse to come on this show or podcast. It used to be a radio show, now it's a podcast. And they hesitate, they hold back, they're afraid. What will I ask? How will I look? How will I sound? What will I do? And here you are, yet another testament
to your courage and your braveness and your greatness. See, Thomas, jump into your life. This is the only life we have, you know? You gotta jump into it every day like it's all new. I'm going to be 80 years old.
You already are 80 by the time this airs.
That's true. And each day is an opportunity to either think about my age or live my life.
You know, we have an engineer who's running the show, Michelle, and he's Swiss, and he found the love of his life in New York. He rearranged his life. They got married. He moved, not in that order. He moved, they got married. So I'm not saying that lady is the love of your life, but if you have fond thoughts of being with her, there's no reason why you can't reach out and create new experiences with her or anybody else. It doesn't have to be a thing of the past. You just have to keep stepping into the moment.
And leaving your thoughts about you alone.
That's the hardest thing, yeah.
Well, it's not
you get
really. You get
it.
better at it. You know, if I listen to the thoughts I have about me, I couldn't do what I do. You just got to set that aside and discover who you are moment by moment. And it's an exciting adventure discovering who you are rather than the story of who you once were from a child's limited point of view.
Mm. Mm.
Can I say something that'll likely upset you before we go?
Of course.
Oh, that he's very handsome?
Yes, the more we've talked, the
Yes.
handsomer he's gotten.
Right.
Most of us don't like to hear that kind of thing.
No.
Kind of
Handsome
blows
and
our
beautiful
story.
is difficult to handle.
Yeah. And by the way, that's not a shortcoming on your fault, on your part, or a fault of yours. Sometimes Shia will be crossing the room and go, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and I have to like take the cotton out of my ears and listen, because it's not my story. We all have stories. And then you can adopt or listen and step into the reality that other people have as a perception of you, should you so choose.
And sometimes I think it's only me having this story about myself. So it's good to hear that everybody has that.
You're human.
Yeah.
You have
got
a story.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, thanks. Thanks
Yes,
for being
thanks
with
for
us
being with
today.
us.
Really a
Thank you.
treat.
It was lovely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you would like to be a guest or submit a listener spotlight, you can go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Next week's episode.
Random delight.
Sounds good.
Yes.
We'll be back next week.
So come on back and don't miss being here.